Hello, I'm Tim Loughton, MP for East Worthing and Shoreham and co-chair of the All-Party Parliamentary Group for Women's Pension Inequality, and I thought it was about time I gave one of my podcasts to update women out there on the situation, because there's been a lot of frenetic activity in the last couple of weeks on Twitter and social media, and I just want to make one thing absolutely clear: nothing has changed. The determination of me, of Caroline Harris, the other chair, and all the officers and supporters of the women's pension inequality cause in Parliament has in no way changed. But I want to update you on exactly what is happening over the next few weeks and why we made the decision to pull the private members bill, which was planned for the 27th of April. Now, as you all know, we decided to devise a survey which has now been looked at and completed by well over 100 different women's groups around the country, with an awful lot of really useful information that has come back to us. And we've employed somebody to go through all those survey returns, and we've now written a report which will be published shortly. We're putting the finishing touches for that. And the reason for doing that was to try and find some common ground, try and coalesce around some solutions to this problem, which a large number of women would support and that we could take forward, and which could inform the private members bill which we've been trying to push forward. Now, this was never going to be an easy task, and we know there are many different groups out there with many different thoughts and solutions as to how we solve this problem, and that is part of the problem. It's been literally a divide and rule approach, I'm afraid, by successive governments. So all those results are in. We have put together a report, and we will be presenting that report at a meeting of the all-party group on the 25th of April. Now, we have sent out invitations to all of the official groups who responded to our survey, and we've invited them to send one representative in each case along to that meeting. Now, it's important, it is by invitation only, because it's simply the weight of numbers, and it's going to be a difficult enough meeting to hold because of the variation in all the different views that there is anyway. So please, if you haven't had an invitation and weren't part of the survey, then please don't turn up, because there's going to be enough people there representing the cause as it is. So at that meeting, we will present the report, we will present the findings of the survey, and then we ought to have a discussion to see if we can find a way forward. There's not going to be a strict agenda. I'm afraid we can't do people linking in by Skype and various things like that. You're not allowed to do it in the committee rooms in the House of Commons, and it would make it even more chaotic. But there will be enough people at that meeting representing a wide variety of views, and I think it will be a meaningful exercise. Now, the second point is that we, as you know, put forward a private members bill, cross-party. I signed it along with Caroline Harris and representatives of all the main parties at Westminster. And the point of that bill was to try and force the pace with the government to get something debated that then had legislation attached to it. The problem is, as you know, that we've had countless debates on the whole women's pension issue, but they're not binding on the government. So we need an opportunity for legislation where then we can try and get the numbers together in Parliament, and I think we've got those numbers there. Certainly there are sufficient Conservative MPs who share my view that this is an injustice that needs to be dealt with as a matter of urgency. So we came forward with a private members bill. Now, the problem with private members bills is they can only be debated on a Friday, and there are only a small number of sitting Fridays where there's an opportunity to debate them. And the Friday that we chose was the 27th of April because we thought there wouldn't be enough other bills ahead of us on that day, so that we could actually find time to debate it and hopefully vote it through. Now, the problem is that because of the whole nature of private members bills, which is a really technical, complicated process that even I don't understand half the time, there are now 6 bills ahead of us on the 27th of April, and so there's virtually zero chance of us getting to our bill, so it won't be debated and therefore just fall. So rather than see it terminated in that way, we've decided to pull it, and we're going to find another Friday where we think there's a chance that we can get to it on the timetable. Now, one reason we haven't plumped for a date yet is that the Leader of the House is due to announce some additional Friday sitting dates, because there is a lot of private members' business going through, including another bill which I'm responsible for, and so extra days are going to be found. Those dates haven't been announced yet. As soon as they are, we're going to try and nab one of them and put our marker down to debate that bill. So the whole thing hasn't been abandoned. For tactical reasons, we've had to choose a different date. But let me also make clear, and I think there have been a lot of rather false expectations have been raised about this. This bill, having this bill, doesn't mean it's going to become law. We still rely on having enough votes in Parliament and having enough time on the parliamentary timetable to get it through, and much of that power of the timetable still remains with the government. And as you know, the government is still, I'm afraid, not inclined to admit that they need to do something about the women's pension issue. The pressure that the women's pension groups up and down the country have brought to bear and are continuing to bring to bear is really important. And so the best thing that you can do is to make sure, if you haven't done it already, go and see your local MP with other similar-minded women to say, look, this is a big injustice. This affects many thousands of women in your constituency, and please take this up and please support the all-party group, and certainly support this bill when it comes back. But we cannot control that timetable. We cannot force the government to change its mind, and that's why we are slightly at mercy of these debate slots on Friday. But the determination from me, from Caroline Harris, from all the other officers and other MPs in this place is no less intense than it has been up to now. So please bear with us, and I know you've been bearing with us for a long time now, and I absolutely know, and I've met many women in really dire circumstances, and it's those women absolutely we keep lobbying ministers to do something about, to do something practical about, to bring about help now. So there is still a lot of work to be done. We will give a full update at this meeting on the 25th of April, and then we'll put the details from that meeting on our website so everybody can see exactly what was discussed and what has been decided. So watch out for the website, look out for the update. We'll give a date for when we can bring back this private members bill, but I'm afraid we're going to have to continue to be patient, and I will continue, and many of my colleagues will continue to impress upon the government that this is a serious problem. A lot of women are suffering now. A lot of women stand to suffer in the years to come because of their delayed pensions, and doing nothing is not an option. And we'll continue to fight your cause.